I hope you've had a wonderful time wrestling together about how we understand humanity as revealed in the scriptures. I just want to spend a few minutes here in this video to think about some of the implications of this doctrine, right? Why it's necessary for us to be familiar with this, because I think it really does impact day-to-day life. This video really will be like dipping a toe into what is otherwise an ocean, but I hope that you get a little bit of a taste for exploring more of this doctrine. Now, our paragraph about humanity in the Sweck's doctrinal statement can be divided into two main parts. The first part is a statement speaking to our createdness and really the nature of our createdness. Right? That's the sentence to do with being together created in the image of God and completely equal in worth and dignity. The second part of the statement is to do with our gender and our sexuality, right? And specifically how gender and sexuality are expressed in light of the blueprint God gave for it at creation. That covers really the next couple of sentences in our paragraph about humanity. Now, the focus of this video will really be on that first part. And the reason being is we spent some time wrestling with gender and sexuality a few years back in the lead up to the plebiscite, if you remember. But if you do want some further information about that, if you want to read more about it, there is a paper attached to the study by the Gospel Coalition that I'd commend to you to explore as a group together. Even if you don't do it tonight, it might be worth doing some future week. It's really, really worth your while. So, let's get into it. What are some implications? What are some ripple effects of knowing that men and women together are created in the image of God? I'm going to suggest just four ripple effects today. The first ripple effect is that as image bearers of a triune God, we are therefore created for relationship, right? Because God is Father, Son, and Spirit, and therefore relational and interpersonal with each other. Bearing the image of God by implication means that we also are personal and relational beings. When God created mankind in his image in Genesis chapter 1, in verse 27, we see that God created them as in male and female. Right? Human beings aren't just people, individuals roaming the earth. We are created male and female. We are persons in community in our very nature, right? Which means that we are created for relationship with each other. Here's a second ripple effect, that as image bearers of God, it means that every man and woman share, therefore, an inherent dignity, right? If every person bears the image of God, this profoundly shapes how we see each other, right? It shapes how we view discrimination against people on the basis of their sex or their race or their marital status or their social status. Because we value everyone because everybody bears the image of God. Everybody is worthy of dignity and respect, especially those who might be frowned upon in mainstream culture. Yeah? It's why from a Christian worldview, we don't condone prostitution or slavery in any form or exploitative forms of employment. It's also why we consider all life to be sacred, right? And that has profound ethical impacts on how we view healthcare, for example, but also also quite seriously murder, abortion, capital punishment, and euthanasia. Here's a third ripple effect. As image bearers, we continue the work of God at creation. Did you notice that in Genesis, God creates something new each day, such as day and night, skies and sea, land. And then what he does is that he provides order and structure for those things to flourish, right? He fills the skies with sun and stars. He fills the sea with sea creatures. He fills the land with animals and humans, right? In every case, his initial creation is not complete. God does more to fulfill its potential. And we as image bearers of God are mandated to do something similar. That even though the earth is created, we are to fill it. Even though God rules the world, we are to rule it under him. Right? The job of creation was not complete. And God asks us as his image bearers to bear the responsibility to continue the work of creation on his behalf. That's a big deal. And we see that immediately, right? In Genesis 2, humans named the animals. Right? God also asked the humans to take care of the garden and work at it, not just to lie there to eat and to sleep. And so you might imagine this has quite profound implications for, how we see our work. Now, our work, if it's not innately sinful, really it's a part of God's design for us as image bearers, right? We were designed to work and to continue the work of creation on God's behalf in and through our work. Our work becomes the means by which we serve other people. It's through our work we come to understand our gifts, our abilities, our interests, and put them to use. Right? Our work is the medium that we primarily fulfill our responsibility to extend God's creation, which really means that work for the believer, it's not just a mere job where work is just a means to an end. Neither is it an idol, an end in itself. But work is the part of the way God designed us to serve Him and to serve others as His image bearers. Now, the fourth ripple effect I want to introduce to you with a quote from Augustine, who in his autobiography, Confessions, you might know it, wrote this, that man is one of your creatures, Lord, and his instinct is to praise you. The thought of you stirs him so deeply that he cannot be content unless he praises you, because you made us for yourself, and our hearts find no peace until they rest in you. See, friends, being bearers of God's image logically means that this universe is not about ourselves, is it? Humans are not at the center of the universe, as much as we wish that we were sometimes. The universe, to use technical language, it's not anthropocentric, right? Where humans are the most central element of existence. It's not anthropocentric, it's theocentric. It's about God at the center. See, being made in God's image means that we were made to worship Him, not ourselves. When someone makes a statue, right, a statue of somebody, say Michael Jordan, for example, the point of the statue isn't to admire the bronze or the metal that it's made out of, but the person that the statue portrays, Michael Jordan in this instance. Right? Similarly, it follows that being made in the image of God means that God made us in His image to image Himself. Our existence displays God's existence. Our existence displays God's glory. Now, if we understand some of those ripple effects, really, they are huge in terms of just our understanding of our beliefs and our understanding about ourselves. And really, it impacts other doctrines that we're going to explore in future weeks. Just as a bit of a teaser, for example, let me give you a bit of a teaser, right? If we understand what it means to be created in the image of God, it deepens our understanding of Jesus' ministry, because we see that it is through Him we see what it truly means to bear the image of God, right? He is both God and fully human as the Son of God. It also impacts how we understand the Spirit to work, right? The Spirit transforms us not into something random, but into the glorious image of the one true image bearer of God, Jesus Christ. It also deepens our understanding about salvation, because the only way for the image of God to be restored in us is through the saving work of Jesus. And it also deepens our understanding of what will happen at the new creation, in the new heavens and new earth, because it is at that point that we will see the image of God for humanity at its completion, completely realized. Now, I know there was a lot there, and it really might be worth having a rewatch when you get the chance. But before we wrap up tonight, it'd be really worth wrestling with that heads, hearts, and hands topic we've been doing each week. What has this stirred in your mind? What questions has it raised? What might you have to read? Maybe it's that paper I mentioned earlier. What feelings and emotions has this done to your heart? And how might you pray about that? And hands, how might this shape your conversation, your speech? How might this impact your life even this week? It'd be great to wrap up our discussion with that. Thanks so much. I hope you have a great evening. God bless, and I'll see you soon.